In this video, I'm going to show you how to install the Sapphire Radeon Nitro RX 6600 XT gaming graphics card. I'm going to show you how to prepare your system, then how to remove your old video card and graphics drivers if you did have one, then show you how to install the new video card and then the drivers to get you up and going. So anyway, let's get started real quick. So the first thing we're going to want to do is open up a browser and go to wagnardsoft.com. Then click on the latest version available, scroll down a little bit, and then click official download here. And it's going to go ahead and download DDU. The reason behind DDU is to uninstall old video drivers. Now yes, Intel, AMD, Nvidia, Matrox, and whoever else does have an uninstaller for their drivers, which for the most part works, but they're written kind of sloppy. They'll leave a lot of things behind, causing issues with your brand new install, and sometimes it's not really their fault. Windows likes to hold on to drivers to make sure it doesn't cause issues, which can cause issues. So DDU, what it does is it goes into safe mode. Safe mode will not touch any drivers. It doesn't use drivers. It uses everything basic, incredibly basic, allowing you to go in and remove old drivers perfectly. Everything from the registry to the folder structure, drivers, everything is completely gone, so that when you boot back into Windows, you have a fresh canvas so you can install your drivers. Now there's one little switch inside of DDU which will help you there, because Windows likes to go ahead and say, hey, I see you don't have any drivers. Let me ruin your system. Let me install brand new drivers. And now we'll come over to AMD.com, drivers and support. Scroll down a little tiny bit, click on graphics, AMD Radeon 6000 series, AMD Radeon 6600 series, and finally AMD Radeon RX 6600 XT, and click submit. Then, depending on which version of Windows, you'll go ahead and select that. I'm running on 11, so I'll select 11, and then I'll go ahead and click Download Now. With all of that out of the way, everything is in the Downloads folder, so what we'll go ahead and do is close this out. We'll hold the left shift key, right-click on the Start button, hover over Shutdown or Sign Out, and then click Restart. Okay, now on Choose an Option, we'll click Troubleshoot, Advanced Options, and Startup Settings. We'll go ahead and click Restart. All right, now under Startup Settings, we have the option for number 4, which is Enable Safe Mode, number 5, which is Enable Safe Mode with Networking, and number 6, Enable Safe Mode with Command Prompt. We can select any one of those 3, but to make it easier, I'll select number 4. So in Safe Mode, we'll go ahead and close out of this window. Then we'll go ahead and open the File Explorer. We'll go to Downloads. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on DDU, which opens up this 7-zip self-extracting archive. I'm going to change the directory to C:\DDU and click Extract. Okay, so now if I come back to this PC, C, DDU, DDU again, and Display Driver Uninstaller. We're going to go ahead and click OK. Under Nvidia, because that's what we have right now, we're just going to go ahead and select everything here. Even if you don't have Nvidia, this is perfectly okay to select everything here. Under AMD specific, if you have an AMD chipset, like I do in this particular system, you're going to want to make sure just uncheck all of this. If you don't have an AMD system, you can actually place checks everything here. But again, since I have an AMD system, I'm unchecking everything here to stay safe. Now, the important thing I was talking about before was under Advanced Options, right here. Place a check under Prevent Downloads of Drivers from Windows Update when Windows search for a driver for a device. Windows device installation settings have been changed to not automatically install drivers. Windows does a lot of good things, a ton of good things. It doesn't select drivers very well. A lot of times the drivers it selects are incredibly old, which can and usually does cause issues with your game, your application, even your operating system itself. Go figure, right? But don't let Windows install the drivers for you. This is an incredibly important step to making sure your OS is perfectly smooth and your games run well. So then we'll go ahead and click OK here, and then we'll click Close here. Now under here, under Select Device Type, we'll select GPU. So whether you're going from AMD to AMD, NVIDIA to NVIDIA, Intel to Intel, yes, you will use this to remove the old drivers and install the new drivers. The old drivers, you've installed several different layers of drivers over the years or months. Chances are there's issues there. So what this does, it gets rid of all those potential issues and allows you to have a clean slate to install drivers on. It's a great idea, again, for great system performance. From here, I'm going to go ahead and select clean and shutdown, because after we clean it, we're going to want to shut down the system so that we can remove the old video card and install the new video card. So again, clean and shut down. And this will only take a few seconds. Now that the system's off, first off, we're going to go ahead and just flick the power switch on the back of your power supply to make sure your system doesn't turn on while you're removing the video card or installing the new video card. And then we'll go ahead and disconnect the HDMI, DVI, VGA DisplayPort cable that may be plugged into your system. Before you touch anything inside of your system, I highly recommend ground yourself. I'm not saying punish yourself for a week. You can't go out, you can't talk to your friends. I mean, get rid of all the ESD, all the static in your hands. Touch the inside of your system, case, not one of your components, but the case itself. That way you get rid of any static in your hands. Wear an anti-static wrist strap, grounded of course. That way there is no chance that you could potentially zap one of your components. Now, before we remove the video card, we're going to need to disconnect the PCIe cables. For most NVIDIA cards, the PCIe locking mechanism is on the bottom. And for most AMD cards, the locking mechanism is on the top. So in order to remove this, we'll go ahead and apply pressure right at the very end here, which disconnects the card from the locking mechanism on the PCIe connection. And then we'll go ahead and repeat that same process on your previous card. So then that's disconnected. At this point, if you have any sort of anti-sag mechanism, you can go ahead and remove that since we're getting rid of this card. And then we'll go ahead and unscrew the video card. Now on the very last screw, you'll want to just place your hand on the card, so just in case it doesn't fall out. Now at this point, most of you will just want to pull the video card out, but you can't. There's a little locking mechanism right over here, which locks the entire card into place. Again, holding the card up so it doesn't fall out. You can either use your finger, pushing it in, or if you can't, you can maybe gently use the head of a screwdriver, push it down, which will go ahead and push the video card out slightly, and then you can pull the video card out. That little locking mechanism locks right on here, keeping the card nice and secure. And now, with the video card removed, we're going to go ahead and line up these PCIe fingers with this PCIe slot, and then realize when we slide this card in, this little locking retention mechanism is going to go ahead and pop up, and you might even hear a little click sound. In your case, if this is out, just go ahead, push it down to unlock it. We're also going to be lining up the front of the video card with the two slots right over here. And we'll go ahead, slide it right in here. And then again, just notice that locking mechanism. Now it's snapped right into place. And then while holding the card, you'll want to screw in the screw here to keep the card in place. Okay, now if you remember, I mentioned that there was a locking mechanism on the top over here. Now you'll see that right over here. Before, the locking mechanism was on the bottom. So we'll have to go ahead and flip it over. So the little locking mechanism will be up here at the top. And then we'll go ahead and just match up those pins. Slide it in place. And that little locking mechanism locks right into place so that that PCIe connection doesn't come loose. And now that we have the card in place, we'll go ahead and connect HDMI, DP, whatever connection for video onto the video card, not onto the motherboard, and then flick the power switch on so that now you can turn on your computer and you will have power. turning on the computer, we'll go straight into Windows. So then at this point, the drivers won't install themselves automatically because we told DDU to tell Windows, hey, let me do it. You don't do it. So then we'll come over here to File Explorer. Then we'll come to Downloads. Then right here, we'll double click on the video driver we downloaded and then install. You can go ahead and under additional options, select full install and factory reset. So that's AMD's built-in uninstaller. As we mentioned before, we don't want to use that one alone, but since we used DDU to make sure everything's safe, we'll go ahead and take that extra step to make sure that AMD removes all of its own stuff as well, if there's anything behind, but DDU typically does a good job. This will only take a few more seconds, and then again, it can potentially save you a lot more time in the future in case you're trying to diagnose an issue caused by your drivers. And then we'll click install. So this will go ahead and reboot, come into Windows before Windows has its clutches on the drivers, remove it, and then install the new one. So we'll click restart now. And now it picks up where it left off and starts doing its thing. I always like to uncheck allow AMD to collect anonymous usage information. Nothing against AMD, but just don't want anybody to have it. Then I click restart. Okay, so now we are in Windows. All the drivers installed perfectly, uninstalled perfectly. Everything's gold, so we can click on Start, All Apps, and then AMD Radeon Software. From here, we can go through the quick setup or skip this. I'll choose skip this for now. Definitely a good idea to go through the tour if you've never used it before. But now we can take advantage of the entire software suite AMD provides. We can launch a game, last game played, media captured. I use this a lot to capture video when I'm on an AMD system, and it actually does not take a huge hit on system performance, maybe about 5 or 6 frames per second off. Gaming, now this is going to scan our system for all the games we have, and then if we allow it to, it's going to put all its own settings in for optimal gaming performance, any compatibility issues, record and stream. You can use the desktop recording, live stream, scene editor, media, performance. So here we can see the metrics, do some overclocking, some advisors, and then coming over here, we can see a lot more of the sub menus. In this video, again, I've taken you from removing your old video card. Now, I use a 2080, might not have been the best example, going from a 2080 to a 6600, but it could have been any video card or no video card at all. You could have gone from onboard video, even if this was a brand new install. DDU is actually a pretty good thing to do as well to get rid of some base drivers. You never know, it can cause an issue as well. So I've taken you all the way from the very beginning to the very end, where now at this point you can install a game and get to playing because your system is all running. If you've come across any issues or have any questions, please leave them down below. I respond to all your concerns, your questions, your comments. So this is Iggy with ThisBytesForYou, showing you how to install the Sapphire Radeon Nitro RX 6600 XT gaming card. Iggy out. See you guys.